Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We're trying the camera and all that set up today. I got the pool table somewhat cleaned off from all the Lego bits and pieces that we've had here. And today we have a bunch of Joes. We do have Breaker with the mass device. I have another one coming, so we will be able to get Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear there for the mass device. That should be next week here. I've been sitting on Xandar for a little while, and we haven't gotten him unboxed. And then lately here, I was able to pick up three more. Two of them I just got over at my local Target. So we have Cobra Commander in the combat armor, Cobra Commander with the helmet, and we have Covergirl. Kind of nice additions to the collection here. Great starts. Now, the nice thing here, and we'll kind of start off with Breaker. So he's got, I believe that's the land for the mass device. So that'd be the whatever. It's been a while since I watched it, and I remember they needed the three elements, and I can't remember what what this one was. I should know this, and for whatever reason, my mind is just not working on this one so well. So let's get into this. Let's get going on this. I don't have my pocket knife, but I do have my box cutter here. So after those times, and everybody should make fun of me whenever I don't have a proper knife, and you guys have done it, so that's perfectly fine. I deserve it. I gotta make sure I have the right tools. All right. Getting them out here. Now we do have two faces. We have Breaker with one, the bubble gum, and then in some regards, I think that they should have done Bazooka with bubble gum because I think he was always chewing some bubble gum as well. But there again, Bazooka, the old Bazooka bubble gum. I know his bubble gum came in handy on something, one of the episodes, and I just can't remember what it was. But I also remember Breaker having to come up with a floating, and I think it was actually, yeah, it was for the mass device because he lost the power. They had a floppy disk, and it's not even the small one; it's the 5 1/4, and it was all warped, and he had to come up with a special drive to be able to read it. I remember all that stuff. So, getting him out here, and we'll kind of take a peek at him. He's got some nice armor, magazine pouches, a little computer here. Trying to make sure I'm not messing this up. He's got all the tech stuff that you would think of. Now, we're looking at him in today and not back in the 80s. So, this would have been a dream back in the 80s to be able to come up with something like this. And hopefully I'm doing this right so you guys can see this. That would have been a dream back then, but back then that's all science fiction stuff. Because we were dealing with very basic computers in today's sense. I remember having video games that had, the 5 1/4, and you had, I think, like 5 or 6 floppy disks to play a video game, and you got to a different area, it would come out and say, "Hey, insert disc 2." So you'd have to do that. All right, getting down to the ankles, which is our basic starting point here. Nicely done. No big change. He's got some fairly good range of motion here. His boots do, they go up a little bit here in the front. Not as much as what we've seen with some of them, but he's got like a little bit extra on the front here that limits that a little bit. And of course, because the boot's a joint as well as a connector, we have our movement there. He's got the double knees, so he can stretch his legs out really nice, which is always kind of nice to have. And he's got pouches here. Looks like magazine pouches, as well as a regular just general pouch for probably all the extra gear he's going to carry here and there. These are closed on top, so you're not going to be able to put anything on there. They're just going to be sitting there. And then, of course, we have our twist. Now, on mine, This is sitting up just high enough, so it's just kind of covering the top of the twist, um, but it's not binding or anything else there. All right, he can do his torso twist. We've got that action. He can do a little bit of crunches, but he's got his vest and everything else kind of in the way. So he's a little limited there. He's got a nice holster for his gun, which we'll take a look at here in a little bit. He's got the double shoulders, which is really nice. It's always great when they can put that in here, and we'll have to see if Covergirl's got that going on the smaller frame figure there. That'll be kind of interesting. And of course, we have our standard joints right here underneath the shoulder. And then the hands, he's got a watch on, double elbows, so you can try and type on that computer of his, which makes sense to do it, especially for someone like Breaker. Now his knife's going to be a little bit in the way, I think. Now we have a top and a bottom, so that kind of depends on how you want to put his knife in there. And of course, a nice head sculpt. Looks like a nice handsome gentleman there. Let's see what we've got. We do have his knife. Communications gear, which makes all the sense for Breaker. And we have the long whip. So that means that we're probably going to be able to... No, this goes onto the side here as Indy comes to join us here. How you doing there, young lady? She's chewing on the plastic. She's been chewing on all the plastic bags that I've been getting with all the Lego pieces in here. So it's been driving me crazy. Stop chewing on the plastic. That's not good for you, kitten. I can only tell her so many times, and yet she still does it. See, there she goes with another bag. Indy, you're a cat. Plastic is not good for cats. It's not going to fuel you up for the day, you silly. All right. I think she's just upset that I'm not playing with her. And then now she's trying to jump onto all my other stuff. I've got shelves right behind here because I'm running out of room. Indy, there's not room there. Indy. Oh. She's going to make room. So now I'm waiting to hear something fall. Oh, goodness. All right, so we do have our gun, and then we have our first mass device element here, and we'll get this out of the way. So he's got his headset here, communications gear. This is the newer style helmet with the communications headset. Indy, would you please? I'm sorry, guys. Not trying to yell at you, just trying to... Okay, and then his helmet has the cable that goes into the back here. I was wondering where the cable went, and this is the only other spot that's got the right connection hose. So we can put this onto his back. Get his helmet on. And he is all wired and ready to go. Now the only problem I have as a communications gear is that cable is going to get in the way somewhere. Let me see if I can't wrap that around here a little bit. That makes a little bit more sense. Having it sitting all the way off to the side, I mean, if it was an actual person, you'd be catching everything. And going from there. Having it kind of loosely wrapped around here, hopefully that's not going to get caught on everything. Right there, kitten. You're being a goofball this morning. Lovable, and I'm not going to say otherwise here. All right, so the knife, which is not too bad. I don't think it's all that bad. All right, we can put the knife this way. Let's see, I think we can put the knife up on the top as well. So depending on how you want to do it, you could have the knife up on top, but now it kind of interferes with this helmet a little bit. If you want, you could put the knife down here, and it does kind of help hold our little computer closed. We do have a handgun, and it's got a magazine. I don't know if the magazine comes out. No, it doesn't. And it does have a silencer. So in some regards, to me, that looks kind of like a 1911 with a brick silencer on it. As Indy is just upset I'm not spending enough time with her. Um, okay, so I'm going to put the 1911 in the back holster here. So he does a cross arm to try and draw his holster. So he crosses over, but I don't have a spot for the magazine, or for the not the magazine, for the silencer. So I could put the silencer on afterwards, and it just kind of dangles there. So we could do that. I think that's what I'll do for the moment. All right, so that's Breaker. Nice looking figure. Nice backpack. You know, I've said this before. I kind of wish that we could open up some of these backpacks and maybe put some gear in there. I think that would be kind of neat. Okay, so start off with Breaker here. I'll just set him down, seeing that we don't have a stand handy for him. All right, now we have Xandar. Xandar is not having all the character bios and all that stuff sitting right here with me, but what is he? A younger brother of Zartan, I think. If he's not the younger brother, he just happened to. Because I remember watching the tryouts. I don't remember if they actually said in the cartoon that he was a younger brother, but he had the Rumbler. He had the Dreadnought's Rumbler, and that's how they got that car. So, and he kind of waited for everyone else to kind of beat each other up, and he kind of came in with the car and just kind of hit the last person, knocked him out of the way, and said, "I win." So, oh, he's in there good. All right. So again, we'll get that out of the way. But I do realize that between the comic books, the bio cards, and the uh, cartoon, sometimes we have discrepancies. So I don't know if they actually had said that he was Zartan's. See, it doesn't say anything here. So I don't know if it says that he's actually Zartan's brother or not. So just kind of leaving it at that. It would, in some regards, make sense because when we have Zorana's got the pink. I think that Xandar has got, or Zartan has probably got a little bit of like the same coloration somewhere on his uniform as well. All right, so looking at him, going through the same basic startup, we have the boots here. Now his boot comes up a little bit more, so we don't have a forward movement as much as what we did on Even Breaker. And of course our joint connection here, and then he's got the knee pads on his knee with a double knee joint, and his joints are very stiff. I'll just leave his knee joints be, and you can hear it pop. It's that stiff. So, which probably will not get loosened up all that much by me. All right, he's got some gold chains here. He's got a spot in the back for one of his knives. So looking at his knife here, more of a dagger, traditional dagger look to it, with a nice T for trying to stop somebody else if you're knife fighting or whatever, and that fits back here pretty good. All right, and then we get up to our legs. So we have our thigh right here, our joint, as we have a magazine, or a holster here. So being a little bit more of a Cobra stylized pistol here, not too bad, fits into our holster pretty good. Kind of hurrying up a little bit, so doing a bunch of figures in a row. I don't want to take all of your day, but just kind of having fun here. Now, I'm going to figure out how we're doing the rest of this. Okay. So we got a gun here. We got a holster here. I think that might be for this. I'm confused. So you got all that out. There's nothing else on here. It looks like there should be another gun here, but I don't have a gun there. So it might be this. But that doesn't make sense to have this up there. This would make more sense down below or something. So maybe I have something backwards. Why don't I take this out? And that is in there very tight. But that's a traditional holster. It's notched out for the trigger guard. So let me try this back here. Alright, that'll fit in there. So we'll just use that for that. I got the blade going in the back. You know, this is kind of a nice little bladed instrument. A little bit like a hatchet, something that you can kind of cleave at someone. Get a little bit of extra whip action to it. So I'm guessing that fits in there a lot better. So I'm guessing that that's what that's for. And then up here is probably for our pistol. That fits up there. All right. And that does fit down in there, and then we can even snap that. So that's apparently how it's supposed to be, not how my silliness was thinking before. All right. Because he's got the exposed abs, he can do a little bit better crunch than what we were doing there with Breaker. He does have the side movement, so he can do a torso twist. He's got the double shoulders here from the looks of it. As you can kind of see, I hope, he does have it. But he's got shoulder pads here. A nice skull, golden skulls here for, fitting the whole biker look. Fits pretty good. He's got the double joints for his elbows, so he can bring that up pretty good. All right, and then of course we have our twisting on our wrists here. As my mind is trying to come up with the names of the simple things that we should be able to think of, but my mind is just not working here very well this morning. All right, so with all of that, he's got the armor on here. We have a backpack. Now, I don't know if we have something up on here. These do not come out, so whatever those are, looks in some regards almost like tent poles. I could be wrong. I don't know what those are supposed to be. Honestly, I'm drawing a blank. If I went back and was watching a cartoon, I'm sure that it would dawn on me that my silliness is just not thinking of this correctly. But all right, now the only problem is trying to line this up, and we've had this before in one of the other figures. Now they do have a longer kind of peg here to try and fit in there. There we go. Now he's got his backpack on. All right. And then last but not least, he has a nice rifle. Now this is an air rifle with the dart. So, or with a bolt here. So these are probably extra bolts for his rifle. He's got a heck of a scope on there. Nice cylinder that's going to be here to power this. And oddly enough, I think I've seen somewhere where you can buy air-powered crossbows, essentially. They're bolt guns that you're just shooting a bolt out. So they do exist. I don't know if... No, doesn't kind of come apart. That doesn't come out. But we do have this. So I'm going to say that those are extra bolts. He's just got them face down, so as he's walking around, he doesn't stab himself or anyone else with whatever tips he's got for whatever situation he runs himself into. Oh, come on. There. All right, and the head does move, but with the the scarf on and all that, that's just not moving a lot. So nice looking figure, especially for the dreadnoughts. It fits in very well. I'm gonna, at least in my view. All right, so Going down the line here, now we have Covergirl, the second Joe that we have here today. As I kind of fumble around here. All right. Oh, come on, you. All right. Trying to get Covergirl out of here. I always like when they give us the classic card backs because then they give us a stand that we can put the figure on. All right. Oops, we lost a hand. Okay. So she has closed fists. So if you want her to just kind of clobber on somebody, we can do that. So we have closed fists here. So she can duke it out with somebody. And then we have a second head mold. So I think they're a little kinder on her looks this time in comparison to what they were last time. Because she's supposed to be a model. That's why she got the tag name of Covergirl. She was a fashion model that wanted a better change and a better reason to live her life, and she got into being a mechanic. Now, I don't know if it's from her father's garage or whatever have you, but she is known as one of the best mechanics in the G.I. Joe team. Now, when we originally got her back in the 80s and that, she came with the Wolverine, so that was the only way I believe you were able to get her at first. But now we have her. She's got the nice long hair for her to have issues with. You know, it's not bad. I mean, it's nice having the figures with what you would expect. A model with long hair does make a lot of sense. And then if you want to change out the head and give her the ponytail here, the braided ponytail keeps the hair out of the way. That makes a lot of sense and kind of covering up here. And it goes, there's a Pitt's Garage. So, good nod to G.I. Joe's Pitt from back in the comics. Going from there. Now looking at her ankles here, we kind of start off still swings back and forth, so that way, you know, and it's, you know, I mean, they've been doing this for a while, so that way we can have them standing, and however close or far the legs are standing, whether it's for the Transformers, the G.I. Joes, the whatever have you, to get them to stand and want to stand correctly. All right, now her foot comes up a little bit, so she doesn't want to go too far forward. Going back, it does work pretty well. And of course, then we have our joint here connecting the boot onto the rest of the body. She's got the double knee here on her smaller figure frame. And of course, then we should have our twist right here. And I just knocked off her hair. So now she looks like she should have some punk hair on. Okay, I guess. So I don't know if that means that the face can come off or the hair can come off on this one or not, but we'll just leave things be. All right, we do have our torso twist, and then she can do crunches as well. She does have the double shoulder. So we can kind of go back a little bit, and you can kind of see the shoulder, and then she can go forward, so we can have her maybe throw a grenade or wind up to use her maul here. All right, and then for her upper arm, she's got that twist there, as well as a double jointed on her elbow. And then we have her hand joint, and that all works out pretty well. And of course, we've already knocked the hair off. Let's put her hair on so she looks a little bit better. Okay, please keep your hair on. And I think they did a pretty good face sculpt on the face, all in all. And I think I have a kitty cat dragging down her fishing rod. All right. Yes, kitten. Well, let me finish these up and then we'll go fishing. All right. I don't know why I get a fishing license. I'm fishing for the cat more than anything else. All right, we do have what looks like a already silenced, probably a 9mm. It's probably got a silence port on the end here, and that should fit nicely into her holster. And there we are. Fits fairly nice. And then she's got the basic laser rifle that we had seen so often in G.I. Joe. It's kind of got the chrome finish on the sides here, but it looks pretty nice. It really does. Oh. Well, yes, kitten. You want to come and visit us again? All right. Now, she does come with a adjustable wrench. So whenever she's got to try and do some work on something, as well as having the master key here, having a nice 10 or, well, actually being a full one, this is probably a 20-pound sledgehammer. I think she could probably be in the tech field, because if that computer doesn't work, she could probably bang it a couple times, and if it doesn't work, then it'll never work again. Things that we always want to do at some point with our, our stuff. But nice looking figure, all in all. And this is the second version that we've gotten of her. So it's kind of nice to see a second version. We'll have to see what other vehicles they come out with that we could use her mechanical expertise with. Indy, come on. Stop chewing on this stuff. I don't mind you being here. Come here, look at the camera. They like to see you too, you know. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But chewing on the plastic's not a good thing for you. Do you want to help with Cobra Commander? We have 2 Cobra Commanders. We'll get the battle armor. All right. Indy, I know you're doing that. She didn't even have to touch the plastic. I can just see her head just kind of shift sideways as she's about to try and take a bite onto the plastic. All right, so Cobra Commander with the battle armor. Now we do have a couple different fists here. We have 3 different fists. Indy. Oh, give me a second there, guys. Oh, come on, you silly. Stop chewing on all the plastic, you. Yes. It's there holding the top shelf on. It's not a chewable plastic. Oh. Oh. You are a goofball. We love you. We love to see you on camera and that. I just don't want you hurting. Eating plastic's not a good thing for you, kitten. All right. So, getting to the fists here. I know she's upset because we're not playing. All right. So we do have closed fists. There is one fist, and I think it's a very important one here. Looks like he's pointing at someone, blaming someone for something that they did. Let's just kind of cut the tape here. So we have the finger so he can point it and says it's your fault that we did not win this battle today. And then we have another closed fist. Now, one of the differences between the comic book and the cartoon is in the cartoon, Cobra Commander always seemed a little bit more of a coward than what he did in the comic book. And regrettably, I'm going to say I think it's done purposely, because in the comic book they could tell the good stories. I haven't read a lot of them. I've started reading them. Oh, we have articulation on the legs here for the lizard. It's kind of nice. Always nice when we get the animals. I always like the animals. All right, I'm a goofball. All right, so getting into the ankles and all that stuff. But when we get into the cartoon, because we had a Mothers Against Violence and stuff like that, and they were the ones that really kind of hindered the G.I. Joe, the A-Team, Baba Black Sheep, and a lot of the other uh, TV shows and all that that were on TV back in the day from being what they could have been. They were upset that they were using World War II actual footage of planes being shot down. That was too violent for them then. But then the funny thing is, you look at what goes on TV today, it's way more violent today. But nobody seems to care today. Um, I wish that they didn't care as much back then in that regard. We could add a lot better TV shows. All right, so uh, he's got his torso twist here. He can do the crunches with his armor. It all looks good. The nice thing is now we have two different sets. So on the one that he's wearing here, you can see it's more reptilian in there. So we got this armor after the movie. So that's when he was kind of turned into the snake. So coming back out of that, if you want him to have more of the snake looking eyes, you could do that. Or if you want him to have the more human looking eyes, you could do that as well. Whichever way you really prefer to have them. And I'm going to say it this way because I think it was brought up in some of the comics. And I can't say definitively or whatever as we go through all of our joints, having the double elbow, that he did occasionally have people going around as doubles, trying to keep people kind of thrown off, especially like the Joe team. So he could be technically there on the battlefield, but it was one of his other commanders or something like that. Or if you're always wearing a hood or something, how do you know what the person actually looks like? So it's easy to have a double in that way, and you could think you're actually capturing Cobra Commander, but you're getting a body double. Nice looking figure. Looks wonderful. All the standard things that we want to see, and you can see the double shoulder here. So that kind of kinks back a little bit. That's always nice. All right, now let's get into all of his extra stuff here. We have his iconic battle armor backpack for all of his stuff. Actually, I never really fully realized it before, but this does have, and maybe they did this in the comics. It looks like it's a intake here, and that looks like it's got little jet molds. So this would be a little jetpack for him to be able to escape. And then last but not least, we do have his weapon. So this looks like it is probably a shortened rifle in a lot of regards. We come back here kind of like your AR, where you're going to have a plug back here, a very short one for the blowback of the piston for driving your bolt assembly. Shortened barrel, but full size standard magazine here, and he's got some sort of optics on there, and that should fit into his holster here, and it does. But that is a big honking gun to sit onto there. But there again, when you're the commander, you want to have something that you prefer, and obviously he prefers something of a larger caliber. Going from there. But very nice looking figure here. And then last but not least, we have Cobra Commander with the helmet. So I do remember there's an episode where Cobra Commander with just the hood, he had taken the hood off so he could eat. And then Destro happens to come in to talk to him. So obviously, Destro knows what Cobra Commander looks like. We have another hand with the finger of you're the one that messed up. We have another one that's more of an open hand, like he's trying to grasp on top of a rock. And then we have the closed fists. And then this looks like a null ray or stun ray or something like that. And of course, he's got his backpack. Oh, come on. To hold that. And then Cobra Commander himself. And then we have a dagger. We have a combat knife here. Let's not forget the combat knife. And I guess this is the part that really has endeared me towards the 6-inch line. The fact that, we do get all the weapons, and the fact that we have holsters and all that we can actively put them into, which is very nice. All right, let's get into our joints and all that. As he is a slimmer figure. Goes down, comes up fairly nicely. Because he's not wearing a big bulky boot and everything else, it works off pretty good. Side swivel there, not a problem. And of course his ankle right here twists. And then we have a double stiff knee. All right. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to knock his scabbard off his leg. All right, and then we do have the twist here. Okay. Comes up to our standard joints here. And we have a torso twist, as well as he can do his crunches. And he's got the double shoulder. Very prominently seen here. And then we have his... All that works pretty good. Okay. And he's got a double elbow here. Of course, this should move because as we're making the mold, different color, it snaps on there. And then we have our wrist as well. All right. Nice looking figure. Looks very much like how he should. Crisp, uniform. Obviously, we have his helmet on. You just never know. I remember being at a Gen Con and someone was dressed up as Cobra Commander like this. Obviously something I can't pull off. Not unless you're going to add on a little bit of a belly there. That just is what it is. Old age has caught up to me. All right. And then we can put that on there. Fits in there pretty well. So, like I said, this is going to be a null ray, a freeze ray, a whatever you're going to use it for kind of gun. So he's armed for whatever the device is going to be for that time. And he's carried a lot of different guns to be able to trick people. Even like gas guns, just to try and trick them up. But he stands nice and he's very iconic. Very good looking figure. So... All right, and with that, I think we're going to end the video. Hopefully everything's worked out fairly well today. I know I've been having a lot of issues with the camera and more with the microphone at times. I don't think it's the equipment itself. I think it's the laptop that's going. I've said that a little bit before. Please, thank you for bearing with me on all that. I know it doesn't make the qualities, some of the videos the greatest. But we're trying to do this for fun. This is all for fun, trying to get out, role-playing stuff and, enjoying the figures for what they are, looking at them and all that stuff. We're going to have to try and, I'm trying to get shelves up. Now, the shelves I have that Indy's been trying to go on are temporarily put up here. They're going to have to get moved to a more permanent spot because... as we're trying to clean up the rest of the basement, then I kind of took them over real quickly. But we're gonna get things kind of going here, but it just takes some time trying to get working through some of the extra stuff I have in my basement here. I don't have, a big area I can store all my stuff in, so just trying to get all that around. At some point, hopefully, maybe we can get a nice setup or whatever that would be a little bit better. But with everything else being said, we're making by. With that being said, thank you for visiting me today. It's always wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.